Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ricardo Caporale. I'm in band company, the honors program. I study biology and psychology, and I'm going to commission into the Navy this May. So the title of this speech is called Shattering the Ice, because the typical icebreaker is just how you get to know somebody, but my story is a little more powerful than that, and it might put some of you off, but I want you to understand that I'm very comfortable with these details. So even though it is more powerful and I am shattering this ice, I want you to understand that my story, my life story, is what made me who I am. And I'm pretty happy with where I'm at. So it's pretty important to me. Just as a little bit of a roadmap, there are 3 phases of my life, as I consider it. We've got the early days, which are a little bit all over the place, the New York phase, and the North Carolina phase. Really more generally, the Carolinas phase, if you consider this as well. So, that being said, March 13th, 1993, exactly 1 year after the great man Keith LeMay was born, I was born in Danbury, Connecticut during a blizzard. My father and grandmother were fighting vehemently. I don't know over what, but it was making my mother pretty miserable, and she just wanted somebody's hand to hold. It was not much later on, after that what originally started out as a bright, young, beautiful marriage hit a pretty serious bump in the road. My mother discovered that my father, Bernard, had a very serious cocaine addiction and had had one for years, even before he met her. He had managed to hide it from her. So after some serious struggles, some stealing of money, she decided, let's uproot. She became dubitative of the situation and his abilities to stay away from drugs. So she said, rehab's not working, let's uproot and move to Arizona. So, in 1994, we moved. We moved to Scottsdale, Arizona. Things worked out a little bit better for a time, but surely enough, he found his way back to drugs, unfortunately. And from time to time, he would disappear for days on end on a drug binge, stealing thousands of dollars as he went. It was one particular drug binge, on the 3rd day that he was gone, of 4, that my younger brother, Michelangelo, was born. Now this was really the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak, because not only did she not have a hand to hold, but he wasn't even there. He was gone. The next day he came back to discover that his 2nd son had been born and that he was well out of a marriage. So, again, more dubitative this time than last, my mother decided, we need change. I'm divorcing you. And sure enough, in 1996, we moved from Scottsdale, Arizona to New York. Now, this is actually a really proud moment for me because I consider myself a New Yorker even though I wasn't born there. It's because I spent my life from the age of 4 to 14 living in New York. All my childhood memories, my first 3 best friends that I met, I made in New York. A lot of fond memories, a lot of good times. But, you know, it was a struggle. My mother was single, obese, and disabled. She still is obese and disabled. And she did the best that she could to provide for my younger brother and I, but, you know, it was mediocre at best. She did a hell of a job raising Michelangelo and I, taught us great values and principles, but again, I oftentimes found myself wondering why I couldn't have the things that were commonplace for other kids. Found myself wondering why I couldn't go certain places or on certain trips. I remember being excited. When I was 8 years old, I finally got to see my father again. It was the first time in 4 years that he had regained the right to have visitation. And I thought, this is going to be great. I'm going to have a dad again in my life, and things are going to turn around. He visited us for, again, 4 days. Or he was supposed to, at least. He was building a closet for my brother and I. And on the 3rd day, in the middle of the night, he disappeared. That was the last time I ever saw my father. That was roughly 13 years ago. Haven't seen or heard from him since. Now, of course, as you could imagine, it was hard coping with this as a young kid. It's no longer, but at the time, it was incredibly difficult for me. So I became gothic of the sort. Long hair, all black clothing, hung out with really awful people. Not that goths are awful people, but the people I was hanging out with were, in fact. And they were doing illicit drugs, and I was really on the wrong road. So again, for a third time, after meeting her new boyfriend, who eventually became my stepfather, my mother for a third time became dubitative of the situation and decided, no, this is not the life for us. Things aren't going well for my sons. I've got a new boyfriend. We can make a new life for ourselves. So we uprooted and moved to the Carolinas. Now this is a pivotal moment in my life. This is the defining moment of where I went to the fork in the road and decided this is not for me. I could have very easily gone down one side and followed the path that my father took, or down the other and say, we're going to create a new style for our family. We're going to create a new name. I got in with the right people, started making really good grades, cut my hair. Not that you can have long hair and be a bad person or a good person. Just something that happened. And I joined the marching band. I joined the ROTC. I learned discipline. I gained an appreciation for life. And I realized what it was I wanted to do with my life. Because of my origins, I decided I wanted to go into medicine. I wanted to spend my life helping others, helping them rehabilitate themselves, helping them build a family. So, those values are what brought me to be a student here at the Citadel, studying biology and psychology. I commissioned into the Navy this May. I applied to med school in 2 years. Thank you.